Hello and welcome. You're watching Today in Parliament with me, Aishwarya Kapoor. Here are the headlines. Motion of thanks on the President's address in the Rajya Sabha today. Motion to be moved by BJP leader Bhupendra Yadav. BJP leader Hukumdev Narayan Yadav to move a motion of thanks on President's address in the Lok Sabha today. Jagdambika Pal to second the motion in the lower house. And in the Rajya Sabha, Union Ministers Ravi Shankar Prasad and Piyush Goyal to lay statements in the House regarding Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill Ordinance 2019 and Companies Amendment Ordinance 2019. BJP leader Bhupendra Yadav will move a motion of thanks on the President's address in the Rajya Sabha today. Motion of thanks follows the address of the President to the joint sitting of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha at the commencement of the first session of every year. The motion will be seconded by Vijay Goyal in the Rajya Sabha. Meanwhile, the motion of thanks in the Lok Sabha will be moved by BJP leader Hukumdev Narayan Yadav. The motion will be seconded by Jagdambika Pal. All right, colleague Kriti Mishra is now joining us live from Parliament. Kriti, now motion of thanks on the President's address will happen in both houses of Parliament today. But, looking at the political developments in West Bengal, what all is expected in both the houses today? Is the issue going to reverberate in the houses today? What are your sources telling you?
Well, Aishwarya, yes, motion of thanks on President's address is slated to be taken up. Remember, according to Clause 2 of Article 87 of Constitution, there has to be time allotted for discussion on the matters raised in the President's address. So accordingly, under Rule 14 to 21 in the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Rajya Sabha, motion of thanks is taken up. Remember, in the President's address, there were wide issues that were discussed, that were mentioned by President, right from burgeoning economy to reforms in the banking sector, in the financial sector, health, sanitation. So, of course, motion of thanks is expected to be taken up in the Rajya Sabha, and that would be moved by BJP MP Bhupendra Yadav, seconded by MOS Parliamentary Affairs Vijay Goyal. Even in the Lok Sabha, this motion would be taken up. But as you've mentioned, on the liquid and the fragile political situation, the opposition is already holding a meeting in Parliament complex and deciding upon the strategy, because the TMC has already said that it will raise the issue of the showdown between the CBI and Kolkata police in the Rajya Sabha as well as in the Lok Sabha. But remember, the BJP has also said that there's almost complete breakdown of constitutional machinery and is demanding imposition of President's rule in the state of West Bengal. So it is a political slugfest and flashpoint. But as you know, that chairman has already appealed to all the sides, all from government as well as other opposition parties, to sit together to decide on important bills to be taken up, and also send out a very strong message by allowing the proceedings of the House to be conducted smoothly, because this is the last session before the general election. So it remains to be seen how the day progresses, but certainly important things lined up in both houses of Parliament today. Aishwarya?
Absolutely. And Kriti, talking about this entire budget session, of course, we saw, the winter session, especially for the Rajya Sabha, had been very unproductive. And floor leaders across political parties in the Rajya Sabha, as you were telling us in the morning as well, they all have agreed to take up 6 bills for consideration and passage during this entire budget session. Considering that, what all can we expect? Because this is a very short, session.
Well, Aishwarya, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has been giving a very didactic message to all the members of the House, saying that repeated disruptions do not augur well for the sanctity of Parliament. He's also said that the members should treat each other, the political adversaries, as just political adversaries and not enemies. And he's also said time and again that it is the responsibility of all sides to ensure that the House and the proceedings of the House are conducted smoothly. And as you've mentioned, that after the chairman prodded, all the sides, including the government and the opposition parties and other parties, have decided to take up 6 bills.
Yes.
And according to that consensus that was evolved, 4 to 6 February is for discussion on motion of thanks, and thereafter there has to be discussion on budget, which is slated to be taken up on 7th of February and 11th of February.
Yes.
Rest are the days for government business, the important bills. So, of course, there was consensus earlier that all the members would allow the House to function and take up important bills. But as the situation has become very fluid, it remains to be seen whether there is disruption again in the House or the House transacts important business. Aishwarya?
And Kriti, talking about the important bills, of course, there are a number of bills that have been hanging fire right from the monsoon session itself. And this is the budget session before the elections take place. The government really would be, looking to pass some very important bills. Tell us what are those key bills that, the government would really be looking to push forth in this session.
Well, Aishwarya, as far as the Rajya Sabha is concerned, the very important bill is the Companies Amendment Bill that is expected to replace the ordinance. This is further to ensure ease of doing business and shifting 16 offences from courts to special adjudication as far as the companies are concerned. There are other important bills like the Anti-Trafficking Bill to empower the people, the victim who've faced trafficking, and also to ensure that such incidents do not occur. There are other important bills like the Aadhaar Law Amendments Bill, there's the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill, and also a Delhi International Arbitration Centre Bill. So important bills certainly are lined up, and there's consensus between all sides to take up these bills in the Rajya Sabha.
Right. Thank you so much, Kriti, for all those updates. So very important bills lined up, as Kriti has mentioned. Remember, the budget session began on 31st of January. It will go on till 13th of February. And let's move on in the bulletin. Following ministers will lay papers on the table in the upper house today. Vijay Goyal for the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. Arjun Ram Meghwal for the Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. And Mansukh Mandavia for the Ministry of Shipping. And in the Rajya Sabha today also, following ministers will lay on the table statements regarding ordinances. Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad will lay on the table a statement explaining the circumstances which had necessitated immediate legislation by promulgation of the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Ordinance 2019. Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare Ashwini Kumar Chaubey will lay on the table a statement on the promulgation of the Indian Medical Council Amendment Ordinance 2019. Finance Minister Piyush Goyal will lay on the table a statement explaining the circumstances which had necessitated immediate legislation by promulgation of the Companies Amendment Ordinance 2019. And obituary references will be made to the passing away of the following members in the Lok Sabha, including George Fernandes, member 4th, 6th, 7th and 9th to 14th in Lok Sabhas. Keyur Bhushan, member 7th and 8th Lok Sabhas. Vateshwar Hemam, member 6th Lok Sabha. K. Krishnamurthy, member 12th Lok Sabha. And Bhanu Prakash Singh, member 3rd and 4th Lok Sabhas, among others. And talking about the lower house, following ministers will lay papers on the table in the Lok Sabha today. Arjun Ram Meghwal for the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Today in Parliament. Do stay tuned. The proceedings of the upper house are going to begin in a short while from now. Thanks for watching.